Hello and welcome to the matchup presented by Unibet alongside Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson of Steelers Nation Radio. You can hear him on The Drive. I'm Rob King. Thanks very much for being with us as we get you ready for the 3-5 Packers taking on the 5-3 Steelers, the last of 3 consecutive home games for the Steelers at Acrisure Stadium. And as we look at that, Dale, when you think about Kenny Pickett, Mike Tomlin, the Steelers at home, even the Packers on the road, that would seem to bode well here for the Steelers, at least that part of the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you want to take care of business against this particular team at home. I think the Packers haven't won here since 1970. It's been a while.
Bart Starr out dueling Terry Bradshaw in that game, yeah.
Going back a bit for that one. So now it's Kenny Pickett and Jordan Love. The Packers this year 1-3 on the road. So you want to continue their road woes for them and take care of business at home because they just haven't played well on the road.
Yeah, this feels like a really important game for the Steelers, Matt.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the AFC is just so competitive right now. The division's unbelievably competitive. It's the best division in the league. You can't slip up against anybody, and especially at home, like you guys mentioned. You got to take care of business here.
So the Steelers' offense is against the Packers' defense. That's where we're going to begin looking at our matchups. And this is the Packers' defense that ranks 10th in the NFL in terms of yards allowed and in terms of points allowed. The Steelers, meanwhile, among the bottom teams in yards per play. But last week, very good, 5.4 yards per play. That would rank in the top 10 in the league against Tennessee, fueled by the running game, and that's where you want to start things off.
Yeah, the Steelers were also really strong on first downs. As it stands right now, the Steeler defense has played 70 more snaps than the offense. That's an entire football game. So they need to get back to controlling the clock, helping the defense out, complementary football. And these past 2 opponents are real pass funnel type teams. They want you to throw the ball. The Packers, teams are running on them at a very high percentage of the time. And as well as the O-line starting to shape up, Broderick Jones was a nice addition, more pulling from the linemen. I think the physicality of the Steelers' running game could really pay off.
And we need to talk about possessing the ball, as Matt alluded to. That's a big part of what the Steelers need to do. They had 15 throws in the first half, 10 rushes against the Titans in the second half. They still had 15 throws, but they had 20 rushes. They got that running game going. They held the Titans to 3 points. They were able to rest the defense. All those were benefits of the running game.
Yeah, and the key was, Rob, if you look at this, what the Steelers did last year, particularly in the second half of the season, they had long, sustained drives. The only team that was better at that than them was the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, this past week against the Titans, 4 possessions where they had the football, 10 or more plays. So basically half their possessions, because you don't count the kneel down at the end of the game, were 10-plus play drives. If you do that, you should win the time of possession. And both of these teams right now are at the bottom of the league in time of possession. Win that against the Packers. Let their defense play a little bit.
All right, the Steelers are running the ball well now, courtesy of Matt Williamson and his key. But occasionally, they're going to have to be able to throw the ball. And for me, my key is Broderick Jones going against Rashawn Gary, in particular because it looks like Kenny Clark should be able to play. Left last week's game with a shoulder injury. He's inside, so those are their 2 maybe most dynamic defensive players. So it makes it difficult for you to be able to give help to both those guys coming from the same side of the field. So Broderick Jones, who I think we all felt like had a pretty good game, him against Rashawn Gary, who was just signed to a $107 million contract extension by the Packers and is maybe their most dynamic player, one of 6 first-round picks they have on this defense that they've selected. That, to me, is a big key, guys, to keep Kenny Pickett upright.
Yeah, Gary's come on very, very strong. He's got a really interesting history, too. Like, he was the top recruit in the country because he's a phenomenal physical specimen. But then you watch him at Michigan, he wasn't super productive, but still goes in the first round, and they've harnessed all that talent, and he's ascending and ascending every year. He's a force. He's a really, really good player.
Yeah, and I thought one of the things that Broderick Jones really brought to the lineup last week is you see him get out to the second level. Is he going to be able to do that, in this situation? Because he's going to have to be concerned about blocking the guy in front of him here. So that's going to be a key. I think the Steelers will get him some help in some certain situations. Broderick is an excellent run blocker. The pass blocking things are still, he's a young football player. Even with the 2 starts that he's made this year, that gives him 17 for his career since he left high school. Not a lot there, so he's going to need some help at times, but he's got to win that matchup at times one-on-one as well when they leave him by himself.
And when you look at this overall, I would think the Steelers are going to be favored going into this game. There's some things working in their favor, but when you're the favorite, one of the things you definitely don't want to do, Dale, is lose the turnover battle. Allow a team to get the ball in good possession, stifle your own drives, good field position, I meant to say not possession, by turning the ball over. So that's your key in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, Kenny Pickett has thrown 1 interception since week 2. He's only fumbled once this season. He's gone 124 consecutive pass attempts now without a turnover. Conversely, that's not been the same for Jordan Love. So win the turnover battle in this game, and you should win. The Steelers have been very good in that. I think they're unbeaten this year when they win the turnover battle, and they've had a very opportunistic defense. But part of that, the other side of that, is their offense hasn't turned it over a bunch of times as well. And Pickett has done a great job of protecting the football. Continue that. Keep the ball, and possess the football, and don't give them an easy or short field to work with.
Steelers are +8. The Packers are -2. But the Packers they're kind of a low event team. Like, they don't cause a lot of turnovers, Matt, but they don't turn the ball over a lot either. So even neutral or in the plus category, I think would be good for the Steelers.
Absolutely. And the Steelers have really shown, over the last year and a half, that they're great at getting their hands on the ball, interceptions, things of that nature. A very high percentage of Jordan Love's interceptions are deep downfield, and they will take shots. So that's one thing to look for. Another little note I think that's interesting with the Packers is their opponents have missed a very high number of field goals, which basically is the same as a turnover as well. They've been very fortunate with that. I doubt that'll be the case with Chris Boswell.
You would think that would be.
It's been 6 already, in 8 games.
Yeah.
So basically almost 1 a game. I wouldn't count on that with Chris Boswell.
Let's certainly hope not. Knock on some wood here as we mention that kind of thing. Time for this week's Yins Chat, and each week answer Steelers trivia, make game day picks for a chance to win some really cool things. Signed helmets, jerseys, footballs, even a trip to the 2024 draft. And here's today's trivia question. Deontay Johnson, over under 75.5 receiving yards in a game. Now, last week, 7 receptions, 90 yards for a touchdown. I expect him to be highly targeted again, but I just have a feeling that the Steelers are going to try to make a concerted effort to get the ball more to George Pickens. I think they're going to run the ball. So even though I love the way Deontay's playing, I'm going to go with the under in this one.
I was leaning that way too, Rob, until I saw the stat packages and the breakdowns, and I saw that Green Bay's a heavy zone team and a lot of single high. Deontay Johnson eats that alive.
Sure.
So I might go slightly over that. Not by much, because I'm with you. I think they get Pickens more involved this week, but I'll go slightly over that.
Yeah, I think it's a good number. I'm kind of on the fence here. I'm going to go under as well, because I'm with you that I think Pickens statistically is not going to be held down like he has been since Deontay's been back.
All right, so that's a look at the Steelers' offense against the Packers' defense. Up next in the matchup presented by Unibet, we'll go to the other side of the football. We'll take a look at the Packers' offense against the Steelers' defense when we continue.
Want to get gear direct from the team? Shop all things black and gold at the official Steelers Pro Shop located at Acrisure Stadium. Get the latest sideline apparel and hats, jerseys of your favorite players, authentic memorabilia, custom gear, and exclusives you can only find here. Don't forget, you aren't game day ready without a terrible towel. The Steelers Pro Shop has everything you need to be part of the legendary Steelers Nation. Come experience the Acrisure Stadium shopping environment or shop online at shop.steelers.com.
Welcome back to the matchup presented by Unibet, and you love to hear Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on Steelers Nation Radio in The Drive. I'm Rob King. Thanks very much for being with us. We're going to look now at the Steelers defense against the Packers offense. The Packers, 6 straight games scoring under 21 points. The Steelers allow fewer than 21 points on the season, so those are good statistical trends. Both these teams, Matt, start very slowly. The Steelers finally had some points on their opening drive, scored a touchdown for the first time all season, getting points in their opening drive against the Titans. But it'll be interesting to see what the score is at halftime because, as you said, each team starts slowly.
Extremely slowly. I'm sure Steeler fans are fully aware of that. But Green Bay is worse in the first quarter, worse in the first half. But the Packers in the second half have put up a lot of yardage, a lot of points, comparatively speaking especially. So if you could actually take a nice lead into halftime, start quick like you did in the last game, I think that'd go a really long way in this game.
Yeah, Green Bay has scored 1 touchdown in the first quarter of their games this season. and that came in week 1 against Chicago. That's been a while.
It's been a while. And one more week wouldn't hurt him, right?
Yeah, they can score more next week.
So let's take a look then at our key matchups. And for me, it begins with Aaron Jones. Look, I just think he's a terrific football player. He's been nursing a hamstring injury. They finally were able to really get him integrated in the offense last week, a 20-3 victory over the Rams. He had a season high 20 rushes. He had a touchdown. He had a season high 6 receptions. The Packers are 5-9-1 in the 15 games that he has been unable to play since he was drafted in 2016. He's been limited this year, but it looks like the shackles are off and this guy's ready to go. And when he's ready to go, he's a handful. You have to be able to control him or slow him down in the running game and in the passing game.
I agree with everything you just said. And frankly, I think he's the engine of that offense, how it's currently constructed, and they showed that this past week. He's finally healthy. He is a two-way player. I kind of look at Dillon, his counterpart, as a little more sluggish, where Jones is a lot more dynamic, big play guy. And the Steelers don't have Cole Holcomb for this game, so they're going to have to make their own adjustments.
And Dillon has about twice as many carries as Jones. That's not
not
the way
gonna
the
happen.
Packers. That's not the formula they want.
Now, they will play them both together on the field at the same time, but when they've done that, as you saw in the clip there a few clips ago, they were using Dillon more as a blocking back last week, kind of like a fullback type situation, and he was the lead blocker, to Jones. They want to get Jones to football. They just haven't been able to do it because of the hamstring injury quite as much, but he got healthy just in time to face the Steelers this week.
All right, so let's get to your key now, which is the young position players. I'm going to give you a statistic. The Packers on opening day had the youngest roster in the NFL. I got that statistic from Matt Williamson, by the way. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and use it. But they're very young at the skill position, and you think that's an area the Steelers can exploit.
Well, that was actually Matt's point, but we'll go there anyway. We can all talk.
Fair enough.
That's fine. If you look at it, they were the youngest team in the league coming into this season, and largely that was because of this offense. Young receivers, a quarterback in his first year as a starter. It's a lot of youth there. Jones being the one exception. Bakhtiari, their left tackle, was expected to be, part of that as well. He's been out all year long. So getting Jones back for them is a key here because he's the one guy. When you talk about going on the road and playing in hostile environments, he's done that. He's played in the NFC Championship games that they've appeared in. The rest of these guys, not so much.
And where it really shows up is the passing game. I mean, Jordan Love has been in the league a couple years, but he doesn't have a lot of experience, as we know. I mean, he's Rodgers' successor. But their pass catchers are remarkably young. I mean, they have 2 rookie tight ends. I really like Musgrave a lot, but they're both rookies. Rookie tight ends usually take a little while to get acclimated. I think their best receiver, who's fighting injuries right now, Christian Watson, he's in his second year. Romeo Doubs is in his second year. Jalen Reed's a rookie. Wicks is a rookie. The whole passing game has about 0 experience, which could even bring us back to our first topic. Playing in a hostile environment at Heinz Field could be difficult.
Do you want
that pass rush?
You want Dale's key or do you want me to?
Just take it away.
Okay. We can all talk about it. Just talk
Dale.
amongst yourselves.
We've been talking about it all week. We're on it.
Forcing Love into some mistakes. That was a young guy.
Another young guy.
Force him into some mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, he's completing 37.9% of his passes beyond 10 yards or farther down the field. That's last in the NFL, I believe. So pressure this guy and force him into making some bad throws. He's not the most accurate passer, particularly the farther he gets down the field. So, he's going to get his short completions. They'll throw some stuff sideways. They'll get the ball to Jones in the screen game and things like that. But you can't give up the big plays because that's where they really try to make their depth of target is high. They try to force the ball down the field. He's just not been able to do it real well this year.
And whether it's schematically or Love's ability to move around a little bit, or the offensive line, probably a combination of all those things, the Packers don't give up a lot of pressure. So Jordan Love is not a guy that's been under pressure a lot. And, of course, that's one of the bailiwicks of the Steelers' offense. One of their fortes is getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yes, and to Dale's point, too, teams are attacking the Steelers deep, but with a low completion percentage. Will the Packers take that approach or not? I don't know, because coming back to the pass rush, they've never seen one like this. I mean, with all respect to the other teams in the league, the Packers' schedule has not been a gauntlet, to say the least. And now on the road against these guys, healthy Cam Hayward, I don't know that I'd be holding the ball particularly long.
Okay, so we're going to have our own little Yinz chat here. 90 years of football, no team has ever been outgained. Since 1933, no team has ever been outgained in their first 8 games, each of their first 8 games, and had a winning record. The Steelers have it 5-3. Steelers going to outgain them and win this week? Is this the
I think
week
they will.
This the week they outgained the Packers?
Let's get a little caveat there. They were outgaining the Raiders going into the fourth quarter by over 100 yards, and they were up more than 2 scores. So you're going to get some garbage yards there. Last week against the Titans had 274 yards of offense going into their final possession. If the Steelers get one of the couple interceptions that they should have had before finally getting the last one, they have more yards than the Titans in that game. So do you win the game or do you not win the game? That stat, I understand it's a nice stat to look at. And wow, it's shocking that they haven't done it. I'm going to say they do it this week.
I'm still a little shocked. Are they going to do it this week?
I certainly like the winning part, and I like the winning in the margins part. Special teams, turnovers, like we discussed.
The fact that you're able to do that,
For sure.
It's
For
not easy to overcome. Yeah.
3-5 Packers taking on the 5-3 Steelers. Another big game for the Steelers, wrapping up their 3 consecutive games at Acrisure Stadium. Kickoff scheduled for 1 p.m. on Sunday. For Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson, I'm Rob King. Thanks for watching this edition of The Matchup, presented by Unibet.